Oh, there it is. Hey, y'all, welcome back to the table. I am your host, Saida Victoria, and this is Blind Table Talk Uncut. We have a special episode for you tonight, but before we get started, I just want to make sure that you all understand our uncut is truly uncut. This is us raw. There is no editing, no making it pretty. It's just coming out how it is, and that's how you're going to get it. So, hope you enjoy what we're going to bring. Without further ado, I would like to introduce my ladies that I have at the table with us tonight. So I will start with myself. Again, I'm Saida Victoria. I am a mother of five. My children's ages are, oh Lord, I know I was going to do this. Uh, 17, 25, 28, 31, and 30. I skipped the 30 out. So, and I also, I am a totally blind mom, and I was blind for one of my children I have not seen, which my 17-year-old. I have four that I had with sight, one without. And that is a little bit about me, and I'm going to go ahead and let the other girls take it over.
Okay, so hi everyone. This is Christina. I am a mother of four. My oldest is 22. I have an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, and I started over and I have a 5-year-old. Three of
Tina, I'm sorry. I messed up because I forgot to say the genders. Can you tell us the genders of your children, please? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. So, I have three boys and the 18-year-old is the only girl. Um,
Okay.
I am low vision, been visually impaired all my life. I have gotten the chance to see my children's beautiful faces, but not in detail, of course. And yeah, so that's
Awesome. Welcome to the table.
thank you.
So I'm Jocelyn. I am a mother of two. I have two girls, 7 and 3. I was born with congenital glaucoma, but I did have vision up until I was 12. So I have been blind most of my life.
Mhm.
But I have a lot of, visual memory. I am a stay-at-home mom. I have been a stay-at-home mom since my 7-year-old was born, so have put in a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm from the Babies Down Bottles Up podcast.
Welcome to the table,
Thank you for having me.
Jocelyn. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Taryn. I'm also from the Baby Sound Bottles Up podcast. I'm 34. I have two daughters, ages 11 and 14. Y'all pray for me. And I am a work from home mom. We are a military family. My husband's active duty in the Army, and we live a little bit rurally, so we really enjoy that. I guess it would be considered visually impaired. I don't have a lot of vision left, but I started losing my vision also when I was 12. Yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Taryn, kudos to you for the only one who gave your age, which we had just talked about. So shout out to you. And yes, so all right, last but not least.
I'm Tracy. I'm 52-ish.
Not 52-ish.
Okay. So I am a mother of six. I gave birth to six at birth, females at birth. I have one that is a trans man. My children are 34, 32. My daughter is going to be 30 next month. My twins are 28. My youngest is 19, and I'm raising my 4-year-old granddaughter from one of the twins. And oh, so I was born with low vision. Um, I didn't even know that I had a problem because my family was so supportive, and I'm just gonna say it, like it was the 70s. My parents were ignorant. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just where they were at the time. You know how life was, how things were, disability was handled at that time. So like now mothers can listen to podcasts and go on Facebook and interact, blog and do all that stuff. No, there were a few moms in the Bay Area with kids at the same school, and they were each other's support system. Sorry, my mic's falling. Yeah, so they did what they could, and I'm the better for it because I mean I don't know too many parents nowadays that would buy a half blind child a big wheel just because they wanted it. My parents did because they figured, hey, if she wants it, she must feel like she can do it, so we're gonna let her do it. And so, and having been raised like that, I didn't know, if that makes sense, that I had vision loss. I went to kindergarten, found out the hard way, and started, and so it got progressively worse at 12, because I was able to ride bikes and travel and do what I need, around town or whatever. But around 16, everything started looking like a cloudy glass of milk. And so I was able to see my first child, no, the first three. And then it's kind of been gray since then. And that's me.
Ooh, thank you, Tracy. For
Sorry.
y'all that don't know, Tracy and Tracy is long-winded sometimes, so we're gonna have to help her land her plane sometimes. Good job, Tracy. Good job, Tracy. Good job.
Tracy has a lot of good stories, but yeah,
she does. She does. But like I don't know. I've seen it on Facebook one time. She called me out and she was like, so I don't care what you say. Some of my friends, Saida, have a problem with my post. Keep it pushing if you don't like it. And I'm like, no, she didn't just call my name out. Cause I'm always she'll be sitting there
publicly too. Like,
yeah, she did.
But you read it to the end though. And
no, I
did. You. I did.
I actually did because I actually commented on it because it was something, but I didn't mind that one. But some of her posts just go, and it's not even their posts. Well, those two, but her stories, and they're good stories. And my problem is I get mad because I want her to hurry up and get to the point because I'm like ready. I want to hear what's going to happen, but she will just go on and on. Was it a blue? No, it was green. No, it was blue. No, I don't care.
Don't
what
do your friend like
was.
that.
So, but Tracy, I love you. That's why you are here because we we need that out of you. So I appreciate you. Thank you. But thank you, ladies. Thank you all. So that's us, right? So we are here today. What we're going to do is we are talking about mommy guilt. Okay. Mommy guilt. I don't know. But I would like for you guys to what do you when I say mommy guilt, what comes to your mind as to what mommy guilt could be, or what is mommy guilt to you?
I think it's us maybe kind of overcompensating sometimes for our lack of, even lack of a better word, perfection. Just trying to be the best we can, but you know, feeling like we have maybe somewhat failed them, and questioning our abilities, and
That's
overcompensating in other areas.
that's your mommy guilt.
Yeah, that's what I think.
All right, Jocelyn, got anything for
I
mommy
think
guilt?
for me, it's like, yeah, kind of along the same lines. Like, I'm hyper aware of like my limitations, and I stress about how my disability will affect how I raise my children, or maybe like the experiences that they may have. Because I don't want my limitations to become their limitations. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's a good one.
So yeah, I think for me, that's most of where my mom guilt comes from.
Taryn?
I think for me, I'm still very much in the trenches with my children, and I have a special needs child as well that requires a lot of care. So for me, I try my best, but sometimes I may be frustrated with one of the dozens of complications that come up throughout the day, and maybe I'm short with my kids or I'm not giving them what they need in that very moment, and I'm exhausted and I get them tucked in and they're all in bed and they're going to sleep, and then I try to go to sleep and I think about the millions of things I could have done better that way, or maybe that day, or maybe there's something I should have said, or a different better way I could have handled something. And for me, I feel very much guilty about that.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Tracy?
My mom guilt right now has to do with, like I said, like, I think we all agree the physical limitations. You have a 4-year-old. They're supposed to go run and play. That's what being 4 years old is about. And, you want to go to the park. It becomes this whole complicated
Right.
endeavor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
The park is a whole thing.
oh
Yeah.
God, because if you take an Uber, you got to take the car seat.
Right.
You got to
Yeah.
plan your whole day around it.
No, my
Yeah.
thing is that damn car seat. Because what do you do
No,
with
the
the car
car
seat?
seat.
You
Yeah.
could leave it at the park next to you. That's the least of the problem. I would
Girl,
think
no,
the
no, no,
car
no, no, no.
seat.
No. I got a 4-year-old. I have to bring like her snacks, like in a bag or something. So you got that. You're holding on to her and you're dragging a car seat.
Right.
And then trying to keep
I
up
guess
with
till you get
him.
there. Yeah. What about well, she is 4.
And your cane that
Oh
you
Exactly.
need
yeah,
to guide
and your
yourself.
cane. And I was gonna say what about a stroller, and I was like, well, she's 4, but I've seen some like 7-year-olds in stroller being pushed in stroller.
Especially those
But
wagons
but
that
then
they have now.
that also presents a problem because there was a girl in the Bay Area some years back that I know. Unfortunately, she passed away, but I knew her personally, and she had came up with this idea. Oh, I'll put myself between the two handles and pull the stroller behind me. Her
Mm.
child fell out of the
Ooh.
stroller and she didn't know and was like a half a block away, and
Oh my
somebody had to
God.
run and give her back her child. CPS got involved. It was just a whole big mess.
Yeah. Well, see now, that
I don't
I
know
can,
what possessed her to do that,
but
but
I
I
don't know
can
why the baby
see.
wasn't strapped in though,
Right.
she
like to fall out
was.
like that.
She was. But okay, and you have to first of all, another thing I have to say is like this was say maybe 20 years ago, so the strollers may not have been
Yeah.
They weren't like the
more
5-point harness,
Yeah.
probably.
yes.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so I'm not blaming
Mm.
her for her babies falling out or anything like that. I'm not blaming her at all, but I mean, it's like I don't know why you thought that would be
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. I understand you were trying to. I mean, she's a single mom. She's trying to do her best, and that
Yeah.
happens. And
She was blind though. Was she blind?
totally,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. That would
I
make me
think what ends
nervous.
up happening sometimes too is like as a blind person, as a blind parent, like you kind of what Christina was saying, like you do have to overcompensate, but you also have to almost like consider all the ways in which things can go wrong so you can
Yeah.
prepare.
That's a lot of work
It's a
too.
lot of
Absolutely.
mental work.
Yeah, it is. But
Yeah.
at the park, so my fear at the park, the reason why I wouldn't go without, luckily I had kind of older kids to go with me, but I'm not going to go by myself sitting there. How am I going to watch my child?
I have to
Well,
chase mine around. I'm up there in the
Yeah,
castle
you
Yeah,
would
trying to
I do
have
fit
that
my
to.
too.
big
You would have
behind in
to.
between everything.
You would actually have to because I can't just sit there on the bench while my kid
Yeah.
is playing,
Well,
Hmm.
see,
even on the
it's
swing.
the generations are different though, because with my older 3 kids, I could go to the park with them, and like I said, I am low vision, so I have some sight, but I can't distinguish, kids between those wooden things or my kids from other kids or whatever. My older kids were more verbal.
Yeah.
So they made noises or said things to me. They run past, hey, stuff
Yeah.
like that, where it allowed me to really keep up with them. But
Yeah.
my 5-year-old now, he could be quiet sometimes. So I wouldn't like his voice sometimes sounds like some of the other kids. I might think
Yeah.
that
Right.
so I
Yeah.
don't feel as comfortable anymore
No,
doing
and
that.
that's what I'm saying with that 5, because my older 4, it was no thing because there was 4 of them, right? So they could, I mean, if something happens or something ain't looking right, one of them is gonna, they know better to come tell me.
Right.
With
Right.
my youngest one, who was like almost like an only child, she, me and her going to, I want to go on the swing. I'm like, okay. Now, like you guys said, either I'm standing right there in the swing, but potentially getting knocked over by other people, or I'm sitting there. So I would just rather not, because I'm not going to be, shout out to you two that are actually in the jungle gyms with them kids. I'm not going to do
I've
that.
definitely done that though.
Well, I stay in
Climbing
the
through tunnels,
vicinity.
everything.
Yeah,
I
okay,
stay
you
in the
say this.
vicinity.
Okay.
I stopped climbing on
Yeah.
shit
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
found that other parents would much rather remove their own kids than like
Right. Yeah.
communicate with me while I'm on
Right.
those things. So like
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
just became this awkward big,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Right.
fun, you know?
No, right.
And
Yeah.
so I stopped doing that, but what I found myself doing, and it does make me guilty sometimes, but my 7-year-old is very responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, hey, if she knows to come and check in with me, and I'll be like, hey,
Right.
make sure you
Yeah.
keep an eye on your sister.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's just always ingrained in her. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's not her responsibility, but also I feel like when we go out, because my husband and I are both blind, like it's a team effort. So
Right.
we
Yeah.
all contribute to making sure that we are all safe and we are all together and that everything looks right, especially when it comes to the baby. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody makes sure that everybody else is good.
And here's the thing about that, Jocelyn. This is very important to a point that you're making. You just said you have your 7-year-old, look out for her sister, right? Here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. I I was raised, I mean, I was raised sighted. I was sighted when I was younger. My sister was 4 years. Do you know how many times I was told to look after my sister? But we take that on as like a blind guilt type of thing because we can't
Yeah,
do it. But sighted people do it all the
all the
freaking time.
time.
It's
Girl,
true.
my mom
But
had my
Yeah.
brother when I was I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I
Go
didn't mean
ahead.
to
You're
talk
good.
over you. I'm
You're
sorry.
good.
Yeah, I was 11 when my brother was born, 14 when the next one was born. And it would
Mm-hmm.
piss me off because my parents would be talking to their friends and people would be like, oh, you got built-in babysitting. And I'm thinking, no, you
Yeah.
don't have
No.
built-in babysitting. I have a life too. You guys
Yeah.
Yeah.
decided to go have kids when I was half grown. Now you're
Right.
expecting me to miss out on high school dances and doing stuff that
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Right.
supposed to do
And your
as a child.
parents are sighted. So it's not a
Exactly.
blind thing. It's
No,
Oh,
just,
Yeah.
it's not.
but we take that.
I was the
but when
oldest
we
of
do it,
four, and
we're judged.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And I babysat all my younger siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Probably younger than I should have been babysitting all of them, and it
Right.
like for the entire day. But just like Jocelyn was saying, I am very sensitive about what I have my older child do, just
Mm-hmm.
because I do carry some of that parentification with me
Mm-hmm.
now. But I think I maybe am overcorrecting a little bit too much. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it is reasonable to expect older children to help out a
They're
little
supposed to.
bit.
I
Well,
think
and
the key is just like knowing how responsible your kid is and what they can handle, and also being fair, because
mm-hmm.
I remind
Right.
her to keep an eye on her, but if something happens, I need to, also keep
Right.
in mind, like, I can't just turn around and be like, why weren't you watching your sister?
Yeah,
Why,
right. It's still
I
on
can't,
you. Right. It's still
right?
on
Like,
Right.
it's
you.
still on me. And so I got to be mindful of that, because I did have some times where I was relying on my
Mm-hmm.
oldest, and
Mm-hmm.
something happened, and I
Right.
had to take a step back as an adult and be like, hey, it's not her
It's not
responsibility.
right. Yeah.
And
Well,
she's only 7.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the one with the 7-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
sorry.
you guys,
And
let
she's
me tell
only
you,
7. And
right.
so,
And
so
to,
what may be important to us, because in her 7-year-old mind, it doesn't, it's not that important. You
Or
see
they
what I'm
don't
saying?
recognize danger.
Right, that's what I mean. So
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
yeah, so we can't be mad at them when
Yeah,
they're doing what a
exactly.
child needs to do, but in that time, in that time frame, you're so upset, you're so worried about whatever disaster has happened, the first thing is like, well,
You
why
kind of
weren't you
just lash out.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's this was my first experience with the blind guilt thing, okay, as a blind mother. So I was sitting at my house and I had a friend come over and I had to get something, right? Well, she said, "Oh, you can." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll get it." And so I had to go like up the stairs, around the corner, damn near up the block, even though it was just in my room. But it was a long way for me. So she said, "Well, why don't you call Jay to do it?" Which is Jay was my oldest son. She was like, "Just call Jay." I was like, "No, no, no, no. I got it. I got it." And so she sat there and told me, she said, "You're always, your kids are always here. You're always doing, these little things." He said, why don't you just have your kids help you do that?" And I said, "Because I don't want to put that on them, because I can't see that now they have to go and, get this for me and do this and do that for me, right?" And she was like, "Girl, I have my kids doing stuff all the time." Like, and she's sighted. So she's like, "Why? That has nothing to do with being blind. That's like your right as a mother, as a parent, period, to go." And then I sat there and thought about it. Before I went blind, I sure would have sent him up there to go and get that for me.
Hmm.
Or I would, and then I think about it, we were kids. You know how many times I came inside from outside to get the remote for my mom or something? Like, I mean,
They
there's
put
just
us
some,
to work.
yes. And I'm sitting there. So that like right then and there, I was like, you know what? She's right. And like you, Justin, I know my limit. Like, I don't want to overdo it. Or I think, was it Taryn that said that? Like, I don't want to, overdo things and have them doing everything, because of the blindness. But there are some things that they should be doing. If I don't want to go upstairs and go get my brush out of my bathroom, whatever, then send him to do it. Why
They
should I
got
have to
young
do it?
legs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They
And
can
I
go a
and I
lot
I
faster.
use that to this day for myself. I said, "You're younger, you're quicker. Go get it real quick, please." And so, but at first that guilt was there. Like, it's not my kid's fault that I'm blind. So I tried to make sure I kept it like separate, like away from, I tried to keep it away from them, you
I
know.
don't know.
Yeah.
Like my mom, like it was growing up, it was 10 of us, right?
She had
And
a lot of like running hands. She had a lot of runners up in there.
exactly, right? But like the 10 of us, we were all taught that, when your friends go home, when there's nobody else to be there, there are you each other for, you are all there
Right.
for each other.
Hmm.
So it was nothing for us to look out for each other. It wasn't
Right.
it didn't seem like a responsible thing. It seemed
Right.
like,
Yeah.
it's because I
A
love this
team
person
thing.
that
Yeah.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna do this
Right.
together. And so like I've tried to still instill that in my children now. I don't like my older ones, they definitely help me with my 5-year-old, right?
Hmm.
And it's like what you say, that built-in babysitter. But they didn't do it because I couldn't
Because you could,
or you
right.
wouldn't or
Yeah.
anything like that. They did it because they absolutely love their little brother, and they just want to
Right.
do things with him too.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so like when you start as a when you first have kids and you got the one older one that's and then you start to teach them that, hey, you're finna have a little baby brother or sister, right?
Hmm.
And they start filling your belly, and you take them through the
Hmm.
whole process with you, right? That excitement is growing in
In
them,
them. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it gives them this certain joy also to know that they're adding to that child's life,
Yeah.
like I'm being a good big sister, a big
Yeah, that's a
brother for
role
that
that they have
other
to
one.
fill, and that
Yeah.
role comes
Yeah,
with a little bit of
Right.
responsibility.
right. and
Again,
and it, and it
nothing to
So,
makes
do with
them
blind.
at
Nothing to
all
do with
at
blind,
all
but we take that on. You know what? You're so right though, because that's how, for my old, because remember, I mean, there's like a 12, 10-year gap between my set of four and then my youngest one. But here's the thing. I didn't have all these damn kids for nothing. Y'all gonna be doing something.
word. I say
You
that
can,
too.
yes, you got to put in your work. I mean, I'm
You gotta
dishing
earn
out,
your
dishing
keep.
out. Yes, I'm like, so no. And then I think for me, once I was comfortable with myself, knowing that I'm not asking because I can't do it, I'm asking because I don't want to do it. I don't
Right.
want
And
to. It's
Yeah.
nothing.
we frame things a little bit different in our home because I noticed that if I was like, hey, go load that in the dishwasher, they would say something like, well, I helped mom do the dishes, or I
Right.
did
Yeah.
this for, I
Right.
did mom a favor. And I had to nip that in the bud really quick and just
Hell
say,
yeah.
this is all of our homes. We live here
Mm-hmm.
together. We are a team. We all work together. We all help each other. So
Right.
when you do something like that, you are blessing our home. So we're not
Yes.
doing each other favors, we're blessing each other.
Right.
You're
And when
Yeah.
contributing, you're doing your part,
Yeah. You're
because
exactly,
doing,
we
yeah.
your dad might have went to work to make the
Right.
money to buy the food. I
Yeah.
went in here and cooked the food. Y'all ate the food, so now you got to
Yeah.
clean up after the food. Like,
Right.
it's
that's
a team
right.
effort.
Mhm.
And
Heck
they're blessing our
yeah.
home by making it look clean, by picking up
Right.
after themselves. I bless the home by cooking the food. My husband blesses the home by making the money.
Right.
We all are doing our parts. And I
Yeah.
have the tendency to overcorrect and say, okay, I'll just clean everything up. But no,
Yeah.
I shouldn't do that because I'm blind and I'm worried
Right.
that they're
Yeah.
having to do too much. But that's just part of living in a home. You got to do
Yeah.
your own dishes
It
sometimes.
is. It is.
But I'm
And
gonna tell
cleaning
you,
up.
giving those kids that responsibility at an early age, I think has given, with my older kids, my kids are very compassionate kids,
Yeah.
like my daughter was in high school still at the time, and she said, Mom, there was this teacher like being really mean to a kid that was, special needs or whatever. And she's like, every time you look around, she was being really short with her, didn't really want to help. And she said, I didn't like it at all. This was not okay for me. She
Mm-hmm.
said, so we decided we were going to report this to the office and stuff, because I don't think that was okay, or
Yeah.
she's been in a
Right.
grocery store
Mhm.
and she sees another, a blind lady or something, and
Yeah.
she'll go to them and say, hey, would you like help, because
Aw.
they
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they will want someone to do that for me,
For their mother. It's the
Mhm.
compassion. But you know what? Another part of guilt that came from me, you guys, and Taryn, I wish that I would have had that mentality when I first went blind and my older kids, because I did everything. I cleaned, I cooked, with the exception of maybe their room, but I still washed their clothes. I did
Mm-hmm.
everything. But the guilt that I have now, it had well, two of my oldest. One of them, he expects he won't do anything. He won't even eat. Like he'll eat cereal all day. And he's 30, and he will not cook for himself. He will not clean for himself. He won't do anything because I have set that like standard, I guess, for him. And I have guilt on that because I think I did more than I should have done,
Yeah.
instead of teaching him to take care of himself. I taught him that somebody will take care of him. But I can't even say that, even though I do feel guilty, because I have his brother who's just a year younger than him, who will cook, clean, and live on his own by himself. So the guilt that I have is the actions that I take had different, outcomes for my children.
Results.
Yes,
Yeah. But I
exactly.
don't know, at a certain age too, you're 30, like you can't just be
You
at a
got to take
certain
Hello,
age, you
responsibility for
can't
hello,
blame
yourself.
it on how
hello.
you were raised. Yeah.
right.
That's just
Well,
who he is.
he's done that, and exactly, and
Yeah.
that's what I tell myself too. Like, okay, yeah, I may have like messed up his childhood because I overcompensated on what I was doing for him, but as an adult, you have to live
Yeah,
and
I
be
mean, I'll
responsible
tell
for
you,
yourself.
I come from a Hispanic household, and usually the way that they deal with people with disabilities in Hispanic households is that they'll just do everything for us. They'll just
Yeah.
do anything for us. And so I never learned how to cook. I didn't
Mm,
even like learn how to do my own laundry till I got to college, really.
yeah.
But I'm 31 now. I have a family of my own. And, I don't sit around saying, well, my mom didn't teach me how to do that.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
at
You
some
have to
point,
figure it
you
out
gotta
on your
take
own.
responsibility
Right.
for your own life and figure that shit out on your own.
And then
That
us
is,
as
yeah,
parents
so
too, like
true.
there's no book to come to raise kids,
Right.
so what you might have did with the first one, you learned, and you might have changed some things with the second one or the third one,
Mhm.
like it's a process. And then not to mention each of them are so different that they all need their different things,
Right, yeah.
like my older son, I had to be very involved with all his schooling and stuff like that. I didn't want them, I definitely didn't want them to think just because I couldn't see them they could get away with trying to sneak past me or
Period.
do some stuff
Oh
Mhm.
like
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
So like
No.
I'm that one, I'm gonna show up at school. You don't you I know I don't drive, right? But I'm gonna show you this is how special and how important this is to me.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
going if I gotta walk to your school, if I
Oh
gotta ride
yeah.
the bus
Right.
around there, whatever I gotta do, I'm going to be there as your
Yeah.
parent.
Mm-hmm.
So with that one, I had to do a lot more, but guess what? That showed those other ones up under him that
Yeah.
hey,
Just
I
because she
saw what
You're
can't
not
mama
gonna
see.
did with
Yeah.
play.
him, so I
Yeah.
don't want none of
Uh-huh.
that.
Have you guys ever so when my kids were when I first went blind, they would try to do something, right? And I would look at them. I said, I see what you're doing. And so, I think he was like maybe 8 or 9. It's like, well, I thought you were blind. I told him, I said, I can see when I want to, and I can't see when I can't see. You don't never know when I can see. Just don't rely on me being blind. Sometimes I could see. So I would tell them that because there's just like you said, your kids, right? So
hmm
even
Mhm.
though I can't see you, I know you're over there up to no good. So
I
that's
could tell what toys my kids was playing with from the way
yeah,
in the other
Mhm.
room. Like
Yes.
yeah,
mommy's ears are strong,
right,
so I'm
Intuition
seeing you.
too.
right. Yeah,
I'm
heck
seeing
yeah.
you, even though I don't see you. I'm seeing you.
Yes.
So okay, ladies. So there's this little, I mean, in my research, my analytic, my anal research stuff, I found a list of examples or reasons that a mother would feel guilt. A blind mom would feel guilt, mommy guilt. Okay. So I'm going to just go over these and I would like for you guys to give your thoughts on what it says. Okay. So the first one is, this is a good one too. And it even has an acronym too. Fear of missing out. And then it says FOMO. So FOMO apparently. So
Yeah.
did you guys ever feel, and the examples are um, like the first steps, their first smile, when, people are sitting there and saying, oh, she's so cute. And then you can't see it. Like, do
Yeah.
you feel, do you guys feel guilt I don't know if it's guilt, but I guess it could be, but I
Yeah.
felt bad about it.
Right. I don't feel guilt.
Yeah,
But yeah, it definitely it makes you sad a little bit
it
because
does.
you
Yeah.
will never know what your baby looks like
Yes.
or how their
It,
face is changing or
exactly. Yeah.
things like that. But I mean, we notice other things about them.
Yeah.
But I think FOMO, like for me, like the biggest example would be like I have fear of missing out in terms of like what I'm able to expose them to. So
Like
Mm-hmm.
experiences. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I feel. It's the experiences
exactly.
for me,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily those other things, but maybe different activities, especially because I have a child that uses a wheelchair. We can't
Mm-hmm.
just like go get in an Uber. And because I
Yeah.
can't drive, it very much limits what we're
Right.
able to do.
Yes.
And I feel a
Yes.
lot of guilt about that
Oh, I
specifically.
could
Same.
see that, Taryn. That's it. Because it's in like for me, I was like, well, if I could see, I could have a van and I wouldn't have to worry. I could just drive my kids wherever I
Exactly.
need
It
to
Exactly
just be
go.
so
correct.
much easier.
Yeah.
100%. That's
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly how I
yeah.
feel.
Or
That,
even
I
just crowded places, like
yeah.
sometimes
Hmm.
carnivals,
Yeah.
oh
Six
god.
Flags, just
Yeah.
shit like that that
No,
you're
no,
just
Chuck E. Cheese. That's a
Yeah.
Chuck
Chuck
E.
E.
nightmare
Cheese.
to
Cheese,
Yeah.
me.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Chuck E. Cheese is a
We
nightmare.
have
It's
an
too loud.
we have
There's
an
Yeah.
too many
ongoing
kids. There's too much everything. And you're
we
trying
have
Yeah.
to
a
round up kids that are not
Yeah.
listening to you.
we have
Mm-hmm.
an ongoing thing on our pod because I told my children that Chuck E. Cheese did not survive the pandemic that they shut down.
Oh, hello. That's
Because I'm
Okay.
not trying to go to Chuck
creativity.
E. Cheese.
So Tara
I
is
can't
never
do it.
going back to
Tracy,
Chuck
there
E.
you go. Tell
Cheese.
your 4-year-old Chuck E.
Yeah.
Cheese did not survive. That way you don't have to go, okay?
Girl,
Rest in
she'll say
peace.
that's okay for her. She'll be like, Mommy, can we go to Dave and Buster's?
Oh my gosh.
Since that
So,
Peter Piper's still
right.
around.
What about have you guys, I mean, this has nothing to do with guilt, but I'm just curious. Have you guys ever used a leash?
Yes,
I
Yes.
still do. I still do.
always. I
Yes.
live
You
by
If
the
I
know,
You
leash,
know
don't,
what?
girl.
I'm gonna
I
tell
have
you.
a runner. I have a runner.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna
yeah,
say that's on the kids because it ain't even just that you can't see them because my kids stay
No,
close. My
I
kids don't
have a
like strangers.
runner.
So, but I have a niece that she has this wandering eye, like, and if something catches her
she just
eye,
takes off.
she's not gone. She's looking at that while we're steady walking. She's in like almost a
Walking to
trance,
something.
Oh,
Oh,
just
God.
and so she's not moving. And if you don't pay attention that she's not coming with us, she will be
Oh,
still
yeah.
where you left her.
right.
So
Yeah.
it's like, you
Poor
gotta say, keep
baby.
coming. Like, come on.
You
Like,
gotta tug her along.
yeah.
But
I
again,
actually
you
had
guys,
somebody from I had this Karen on a bus, minding my own business, call CPS on me because I had a runner and I had her on a leash.
that's what I was just about to say, you guys.
Like, can you imagine?
Wow.
Can you imagine you're playing with your kids, minding your business, somebody knocks at the door and it's CPS because you're protecting your child.
Yeah,
I'd
you
be
know
like,
what?
yes, ma'am, I
Yes.
did have my baby on a
I
leash, and
But
that's
sure
so
here,
she
but
doesn't run off.
again, here's the thing, you
Mm-hmm.
guys. Leashes were not freaking made for blind
They
people.
were not. Who made
Blind
No.
them?
people use them
Somebody
all the
out there.
time.
Yep.
But I'm not gonna lie though, y'all. When I could see and I seen people on a leash, I was like, man,
Judge
that's
them.
fucked up. Yes, I did. I
You know
did
Mm-hmm.
what? I
that.
can see
because
that
you
though
weren't thinking
because
of them fucked up kids.
No,
we were we
no,
I'm
I was
sorry. No, I
no,
call it what it is. Those kids
yeah,
are fucked
yeah.
up for
no,
running off.
right.
You're
I
and
just
mine, my second born would look at me because my mom, like sometimes we'd be together, and she would look at me, hearing me calling her, and then as soon as we get close to her, she'd take off running.
No,
Oh,
I'll tell you what I looked at it mainly of and this is just me keeping it real. It was a white thing to me. It was always white people and I'm
girl.
like and I would always think I because every time I seen it with somebody with some I'm like and for me it was like that they can't control their kids. Like a good ass whooping will fix that. Like that was my first reaction and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like and I feel and now looking back, I'm like, number one, you were being racist because you were putting that on just the white people because it's not a white thing. Number two, it's not even it's more for
It's a lot more to come
safety.
into play. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so
Yeah.
now as a blind person, like, okay, well, I'm not white, number one. So but I will use one in a heartbeat. But luckily I didn't really have to use it as much. But if I were to have, I would have like made an exception and it would have been okay
Yeah.
for me to use it.
I would think that if you're a blind parent, it makes the most fucking sense.
It
Like,
does.
why would anybody be like, oh, that's fucked up, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever? Like,
right.
that's,
Yeah,
it makes
right.
sense. Why you
Like
have your kid on
Tracy
a
didn't get kudos for, oh,
Yeah.
that's dope because
Thanks for
she's
keeping you up with
blind.
your kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
Uh-huh.
blind and she came up with a way to make sure her kid stays safe. No, that's not what she
Exactly.
got. She got, oh, she's blind and she got her kid on a leash. Let's call CPS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
My
So,
little
it's that
niece.
ignorance, I've heard
oh
that
yeah,
before a lot too, that it's it's a white thing, da 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 da.
yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
I think
No,
that's also a
it's not.
generational, like one of those,
Yeah.
we grow and we learn, but yeah, I think
Well,
more
hell,
parents
just
now
like
use it anyway.
right.
Like,
Just like car seats. You remember back in the days,
they used to
car
not.
seats,
Yeah,
there was
nobody
It
no
was
used
car
car
seats.
seats.
optional.
I used to
No,
see
car seat.
people
We didn't
rolling
even have
around.
seatbelts. What are
Yeah.
you talking
Yeah,
about?
seatbelts either. None of that. I remember my aunt used to be driving the car because she had big titties, and she would
Uh-uh.
have my cousin laying on her titties as she's driving.
No.
Like, yeah, like
I've seen my
resting
auntie
on
do
them.
that. My auntie's done that
I'm
with my little
like, so
brother.
yeah. So if you were to do that today, girl, you are going to jail. But back
Yeah.
things have changed, which that
Mm-hmm.
actually, you guys, brings to the next bullet: concerns about safety. Any guilt about that because you feel like you cannot, keep your child safe or anxiety about because you cannot see.
Let
Um,
me. I have to chime in on this one.
mm-hmm,
I have to. Okay. Now, safety is always an issue. I'm hyper vigilant.
mm-hmm,
Let me tell you, It was my brother's child who got out of the house at 4 a.m. and walked to 7-Eleven because he wanted beef jerky when he was 3. So
Oh my
it was,
God.
yes, it wasn't. I know that was the end of the story. I wasn't going into this big old long thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you cut me
Thank,
off. So you
thank
cut
you.
me off
Thank you.
prematurely.
Thank
Because
you.
I was about to say, at 3 years old, I said, but it was never any of my kids who ever got lost at the zoo, the fair, or none of that. I never lost a kid.
Yeah.
The only time I ever lost a kid was when I went to a fair with a sighted person that was supposed to be watching them, and that is God's truth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make that make sense.
But again, you
This,
guys, this is not guilt for me. I don't know if it's guilt though, right? Is it real? Would we call it
I have
guilt?
it just
Okay.
because I have a certain rule that my kids, especially when they're like playing outside, because we have a lot of property, they
Mhm.
can't scream.
Oh
And
yeah.
maybe that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Maybe
No.
people have thoughts about it because kids do scream from
Yeah.
excitement,
Right.
but my kids' screams from excitement are not different from their screams from other things.
Right.
And I get such terrible
Yeah. So you're freaking
anxiety.
out every time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I can
you know,
see that.
I
Yeah.
do
Me
have
too.
guilt about that because I'm like, you cannot scream. You cannot do
Yeah.
it unless you are hurt. You cannot scream.
Yeah.
And that's a me thing because I can't just glance around and see that
Right.
you're okay.
That
So
yeah.
I'm
You're just
listening.
playing. Yeah. But Taryn, I don't know. I don't think you should feel guilt about that. I don't. You don't scream. Period. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't. Don't scream at all. I don't even. Happy screams, sad. Don't scream unless your limb is falling off, and then I'll get the Robitussin and rub it on and make it all better. But that's what
Some
I don't.
Windex.
Yeah, exactly.
That
But
Windex.
I think the safety part of it, you guys, I did feel that I used to stay at home alone with my 8-month-old or my toddler. It's just me and her by ourselves. And there were times when I couldn't freaking find her. Like, I don't know where she was. And like, she just, crawled off. I don't know what she did or where she was at. And so I was like, oh my God, what? And then, of course, I'm thinking like she's, hung herself somewhere. She fell out the window. I'm just thinking all kinds. So like that you said, Taryn, that anxiety that comes in every time you freak out like that because you just don't know. So I put a bell on her ass. I don't know if you guys ever done that,
I've
Hmm.
but
heard
I
of
I
did
people doing
the
that. I
yeah
definitely have heard of that.
yeah I
I
actually
did
put a
I did the squeaker shoes too for my
yeah
oldest, and then
mm-hmm.
she just learned to walk on her tippy toes.
Right,
So
right.
I couldn't
To
hear her
know. Yeah,
anyway.
because these freaking kids are smart. They know what the heck they're doing. They figure it out easy. I know the bell she could I pinned it on the back of her shirt though, so she could not,
That's great. I was
but
also a single mom when my
mm-hmm,
oldest was little, so she was
mm-hmm.
actually like shook when she realized other people could see because it was just
Ah,
me and her. So I guess
yeah,
she just thought all adults could not see.
right,
Oh, that's
So
yeah,
if I had
funny.
somebody come over to our house and she'd be trying to walk on her tippy toes or whatever to hide behind the curtains, they'd be like, "Girl, I can see you right there." And she would
right.
just be
That
so
is too
surprised.
funny.
Yeah, that is, and speaking of that though, guys, how did did your kids notice, or do they know, when did you realize that they noticed you cannot see or that there's a
Seven,
problem?
So
17 months, 17 months old. I
Yeah.
swear on
I'm
everything I'm
gonna
gonna do.
say with my older three, they definitely like they knew, but it wasn't a big deal to them.
Yeah.
They at 1 years old, I could say, "Hey, what are you playing with?" They would bring it and put it in my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they knew, or they would say, "Mommy, can you look at this? Mommy, look what I did."
Yeah.
And I would pretend to look at it too. You're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
let me see." But
Right.
they definitely knew early on to put it in my hand is the best way. And then this 5-year-old though, he's still at right now questioning things. And so he has just started within this, last year trying to assist me. And I just had to explain it to him that my eyes don't work well. He sees me seeing things, but
Yeah.
he's confused about what I
Right.
can't see. So he's like, but I thought you couldn't see that,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
now he's actually starting to say, okay, step up. or no, watch out, don't go
Right.
that way, you know. So it's taking him longer
And
than the
especially for
other
you
ones.
though, Tina, because you sometimes you can see there's stuff you can see or cannot see.
Yes,
So it's
yes. So it's
harder for them to,
confusing.
yeah, so they don't know what exactly when, if you can or what you can or cannot. I don't remember my older kids because I just it was a long time ago, but my grandson who's here, you guys, and he was 2 and they call me Lita. So he was like, Lita, look.
Oh,
He's
that's
like,
what my
"Oh."
kids call their grandma
Oh,
too.
really? Yeah,
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 Shafra abuelita.
that's the yes.
Yes.
So they call me Lita. So he's like, Lita, look. And I was like, And but he didn't accept that. You know what he did? He came and grabbed my hand to put, look, Lita, look, and he made me feel it. So I'm like, how would he has to know something because
Right.
what would make
Mm-hmm.
him come and make me feel it? Because I was looking at him but he was like, no, she's not, she can't see this. So no, she needs to really look at this. And so I'm like, I told my son, I said, I think he knows I can't
He
see.
knows. He knows.
Yeah.
The reason
Yeah.
why I know that he knows is my daughter Tiara, she was my firstborn. We were leaving my aunt's house. So I had my second. I know. And so I'm strapping her to me, and my mom goes, "Oh, I got you. Just give me a minute." Here comes Tiara with her little hand, and she's
To
leading
guide you. Yeah.
by
Yeah.
one finger. And I'm like, "Oh
Oh, but that
my
is so cute
God."
though.
No, they
Yeah.
know right away. I
But
think
it
they
Yeah.
was
know
it was
before they
so
even understand
incredible.
it.
It
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
Joss,
so
I was gonna say
incredible.
that. Yeah.
Because they're
Yeah.
so freaking smart.
Before
And then
they
I
can
had a
even
baby.
say what blindness is, they already know. They just know,
Yeah.
like, this is what I
She
do for
couldn't
my
talk.
parents.
She
Before
wasn't
they
even
can even
verbal.
understand. Yeah, my kids, it was before they could talk for both of
Yep.
them.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Same.
one of
And
my
then later
babies,
on, they start asking the questions to kind of
Mm-hmm.
like understand the concept, but they know before they even understand what it is.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I definitely remember picking up my son from daycare and we're waiting on the bus stop and I got my cane and he's playing with the cane like he's
Uh-huh.
pretending to walk
Yeah.
like I
mhm,
walk,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah. That's
remember
what
with
my
they did
still
grandson
with the
does
that.
too.
cane.
yeah.
Yeah. They do that too. Um,
Yeah.
All right, guys. So here's the next one. And we already touched on this, but I just want you guys to know it is on this list. Limited independence for children. Um, it's like we as mothers, right? As blind mothers, like maybe our kids are not able to achieve those, like blinding, I'm sorry, like dressing themselves or navigate their surroundings. But, they're saying that we feel guilt over that. But you guys don't feel guilt over that, do
My
you?
kids dressed themselves and
Right.
they were
That's,
already
yeah.
doing that.
Yeah. And,
The
and
only
that's,
thing, the only thing that, dressing themselves like this, and this just could have been, I'm just going to be a brat today. My daughter switched her socks and
yeah.
no shoes. And we got to school and she had on one Barney shoe and one Barbie shoe.
Yeah. And as
And
as a blind parent, you failed her. What
Uh-huh.
I
is wrong
did.
with you?
I know exactly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
in their
But
eyes, yeah.
Yeah,
but look,
exactly.
it doesn't matter that I dressed her myself.
Right.
But
And
I had
she,
a
yeah,
newborn, changed her diaper, and I'm like, come on, let's go. I don't check because
Mhm.
I'm thinking
yeah,
in my mind, she's
yeah.
already dressed. I didn't dress her. She's zipped up. Let's go.
We don't get the
Mm-mm.
benefit of the doubt. It's
Nope, you always
automatically
gotta do
Yeah.
because
it.
we're
No,
blind.
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything
No,
is because, oh, okay, so I missed this. It says that the guilt would come because your child may not be learning those things at the same pace as sighted
mm.
children.
Why not? My kids were very
Right.
advanced. I don't
Yeah,
think
I
That
my
no, I
think
kids were
don't feel no
behind on
guilt.
anything.
if
Mm-mm.
anything, kids of blind parents are more independent
I think
because
so
I
too.
or
agree.
more helpful. Like we've talked
Hmm.
about it on the
Yeah,
pod.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah.
become, or even Tina was saying, like they become more compassionate kids.
yeah,
They become more helpful.
yeah,
They take initiative a lot more. Because they've had to do that with a blind parent. Like even their
right,
vocabulary
right.
is
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because
yeah.
advanced.
But I
they
have
They
to
have to
tell
talk
be
you
all the
verbal.
something.
time.
I have
Yes,
to
that's a good
mention
one.
something that my kids said. So, because a lot of times in the blind community, you get the kids that are very ashamed of their parents. And want nothing to do with him. And so I was talking to one of those parents, and my kids were like, and you let your daughter do this? Why are you allowing this? And he's like, well, that's how she feels. And they're like, no, why are you allowing her to treat you like that? That you are her dad. She needs to respect you. My kid said, when we were growing up, we didn't even know about beauty and this is cute and that's, that boy is so fine because he looks like this. They said that was a foreign concept to us because we grew up with a blind mom and that stuff wasn't even important. And I never even thought about that. Like,
Yeah, that's a different point of view because I think I was opposite. Because I couldn't see,
no, that was my kids saying that.
yeah,
My
no,
kids
that's
were
what I'm
telling
saying.
him.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm saying. I think my kids would be opposite because I can't see, I made sure my kids knew like we look cute, this looks cute, this matches.
No,
So
no,
well,
no, no. Okay, not that. Of course, they're always clean. I'm gonna buy, I used to pay all this money to keep their hair in the latest styles
yeah,
and stuff.
so
That's not what we're
yeah,
talking
so
about. I'm
what are you
talking about
saying?
what a person actually looks like, oh, he's got deep
Yeah,
green eyes, and oh my God,
my
you just
daughter
make
didn't even understand what the difference between a white kid and a black kid was. Like she just didn't she like because we don't ever talk about people in like the sense of
In the
oh that's a
visual
white
sense.
person,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
yeah,
don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
or the
see,
girl with
so
the
see, and
blonde
that's what
hair or
my kids
whatever.
were talking
Okay,
about.
Yeah.
okay. So like
Yeah, I know
okay,
what you're
so how
saying.
physical okay, so the physical features of a
Yeah, and so
person.
there'll be like kids in class, and I'm like, "Oh, is
Oh, is
what
he
is
black or
Naya?
white?
Is he
Yeah.
black or white?"
Yeah.
She's like, peach," and I'm just like, "Okay."
Kids would be like, oh, he's just
Or what well,
I
mine
mean,
says
even
they're
now.
yellow. They're yellow. My
Yeah,
Yeah,
daughter
yeah,
calls me
or
yellow.
or
brown.
she'll
She
just
just
say
think, yeah.
brown.
Yeah.
Brown,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And my
Mhm.
son thinks like me and two of my sons are like light skinned, African Americans.
Right.
And so my family always messes with us and say we're orange, because they say we're
Yeah.
not yellow, but we're not brown, they say
Yeah.
we're
Well,
orange.
yeah.
Christina, I'm
So
going to tease you when we get
Yeah.
off this podcast about being orange, and you know where I'm going with
oh
it.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But
Don't eat
he
nobody's dog now.
compares he
Yeah.
compares
Sorry.
other people to, like, if I say what color is his teacher, he will say his teacher is like us, but she's a Hispanic teacher. But
Oh, but she looks
Yeah,
the same skin tint.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, so they're definitely, they don't. But you know what? I taught my kids like early on colors, not, and I'm not saying skin colors, but just just things like that, because I needed them to pay attention to their clothes
Yeah.
and stuff
Right.
earlier on, because that's what I would
Yeah.
tell them, like,
Yeah.
you can't go to school with mixed match clothes on. You can't go to school with dirty
Yeah.
clothes on, stuff like that. I
Yeah.
said, because they don't look at you for that. That you
No,
have to
look at their
realize they're
mama,
looking at your mom, and they're the first thing they're
Hmm.
going to
the
say is
blind mama.
that poor lady couldn't take care of her
Hmm.
kids. She let those kids come out the house looking like that.
Right.
I'm like, so don't embarrass me when it's stuff that you're doing. If you know
Yeah.
you need clothes washed, you come in here and you tell me, because I've always had washer and dryer at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
not going to
We're
the
in the
laundry.
middle of that too. Like
Yeah.
well, she's good at it now, but my 7-year-old, when she was like 5 and 6, I had to tell her like, hey, I clean your clothes, but if there's a smudge on it, I don't
Yeah.
know that. So
Mm-hmm.
you
Well,
need to look at your clothes and you need to tell me, mommy, this isn't clean. I can't wear this. Like,
and that's the sad part that because we have to pay so much attention to
so
that because if
much.
we send them to school with that smudge on there, then you're a bad mother because you can't even send your kid to school clean.
Or they pity
But
you.
they
They
don't
pity you
Yeah.
realize that
bad.
it's
Poor
kids that
thing.
do that, period. Because my
Again.
stepson, who is not, neither of his parents are visually
Mm-hmm.
impaired, right? But he's going to middle school. So I just had to have a whole conversation with him about how he puts himself together in the mornings for going to school. I'm like, make sure you take a shower, you put your deodorant on, lotion yourself down. Don't go to school with any holes in your shirt. He walks around a lot of times with no
Right.
socks on, stuff like that.
Right.
I'm like, if this is an issue, you don't have some socks, if you need underwear, whatever you need, call your dad. if your dad can't get it to you, call me. I'll DoorDash it to you or something.
Right,
But
yeah.
it's a kid thing and it's not a blind thing, but they do hold that
It's
against us.
against us. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this one? Now this one, I don't know, but it's guilt though. Um, dependence on others, having to rely on others for assistance or like sighted family members or other things. Does anybody feel inadequacy or guilt? Because there may be times when you do have to rely on somebody with sight.
I
Well,
do.
we're
Absolutely.
pretty independent. We don't have a lot
Absolutely.
of family, so I don't have the luxury to rely on anybody.
You're
Um,
lucky.
Yeah.
but if I didn't, but if I had the family that would help and all of that, I don't think I'd feel guilty about it.
I
Yeah.
don't. I got a lot of family, and my family knows that if I have to ask them for something, it's simply because I just could not do it on my own.
Right.
Because
It
they
takes a
know
village.
my first thing is to do everything I can. I do a lot for
Yep.
them, so like, if I got to ask you, you shouldn't
But
even worry about helping me.
that's another key point, you guys, because yes, I may have to call on somebody for something if I do, and that's always my last resort as well. But when we call on others for things, people don't like, they call on me too. I have
Hmm.
people that call on me for stuff too. I don't feel guilty about that. I just feel I get pissed off when I call or when I don't call my family or friends feel like I should call on them for things because they don't feel I can do it myself. That's where,
Yeah, yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
really guilt. I get irritated. Like I don't need you to do these things. Well, you should have called me. I would have did it for you. Well, I did it myself. What's wrong? I mean, you know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like again, it's not a guilt thing. It's like I I don't want you if I call on you, don't pity me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying a
Yes.
lot of other people do feel like we should be calling on them even when we
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like it. So why
Right.
should I don't
Right.
think we should feel guilty about it
Right.
because we're not calling on them as much as they think. I
Right.
remember like my boy I lived in this neighborhood and I used to walk up to the corner store like all the time. And so I got ready to walk up there one day and I noticed somebody coming up behind me. I could hear, the footsteps and I turn around and it's my son. And I'm like, what are you doing out here? And he was like, so and so told me to come up here, which was my boyfriend. He was like, he told me to come, up here with you. I said, go back to the house. I don't,
Yeah.
what?
I
You
don't
Yeah.
know.
know?
I feel guilty about it sometimes because my
Mm-hmm.
husband is sighted and we had like a specific thing that happened not that long ago. It was back to school and how they send all these papers home that have to be signed, so on and so forth. And my 14-year-old waited until he got home from work and it was pretty late to ask him to sign some paperwork.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, she's asking him because she knows it would be
That
more
work for
inconvenient for
her.
me to
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
So she waited and like stayed up for him to get home, and then he
Oh,
had to hit the
yeah.
door, walk in the house, and then immediately have to like do this
Oh,
paperwork. And I
Oh,
felt bad about that because I was just thinking, well, she didn't even think to
Even
ask
try to,
me.
yeah.
Oh,
Like
so you could
Yeah.
have done
we could have gotten this done, but she just
Yeah.
figured it would be easy to ask her dad, so she just asked him instead. And that
Oh,
I
was
started
tough.
yeah.
oh
I
I
started
yeah,
can
teaching
that
my
would
see
have
that.
hurt
kids
my
like
feelings a
early
little
on
bit.
to
Yeah, me too.
I started teaching my kids early on, like to fill out stuff or whatever. Like, you know how to write your own name. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to the signature part, hey, yeah, bring that to me. And then, like you can show me where to sign on the line or something like that. But they use that against you too, because my son started signing my signature
Well,
when he was in
Oh
elementary
yeah,
school.
no.
You gotta
but
be
that's funny
careful.
that you say that because my daughter and she's about to be 17. Just last week, she's oh mom, I need you to sign my syllabus. Oh, I need you to like she brings stuff to me every time. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, damn it, can't you just sign it yourself? Like, and I'm sitting here because like she just but I still and now that you're saying that, I'm like, you know what? I think because Taryn, that's a good point. I think I'm glad that she still comes to me and wants me to sign stuff instead of thinking like, well, it's too much.
Right.
So she is still bringing me things to sign.
When I
And
talked to my husband about it, he said, "Baby, it's because I just
just be
signed it."
done,
And
right?
I would have been like,
You would have
"Read
Read
read
it
it.
everything
to
to me."
me.
Yes.
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 So we're
Yes.
gonna put that back on your child because she didn't want to do all that.
No.
That
And
She
has
it
said,
nothing
was
to
a
Mom,
do
I
with
don't want to know
you.
syllabus.
everything
Yeah,
that's on this package. I ain't
right.
got
Uh-huh.
the time.
And don't paraphrase. Read me the
Right.
paragraph.
Word for
Hmm.
word.
What you
Word
think
for
it
word.
said. You're a
Yeah.
And
kid.
bless my little baby, she has dyslexia. It's not fun to
Yeah.
Trying
read.
to read that
Right. Yeah.
shit.
No, so I get that. I was feeling bad for that one for you, Taryn, but I'm taking that back away because I feel like she just like I don't blame her because I know for me it's a challenge for them. It's like they
Yeah,
not a challenge, but they don't want to do all that.
they
Why
don't want
not
to do all that.
take it to daddy and he could just sign it real quick and I ain't
My
gotta read
daughter's
nothing.
teacher was like, I was telling her, hey, I like it when you post everything like on the class dojo thing because it's accessible for me. And she's
Yeah,
like,
Mm-hmm.
right.
okay. She said, also, she basically told me also ask Ari to read it because she's a great reader. And I'm like, okay, but baby don't want to sit there and read all that
Yeah,
shit.
Rob.
She
Yeah.
does
No,
not.
because
You
you're
know what
like,
I mean?
I don't even want to read the damn script.
Right?
I
I
don't
don't
want
even
like I
want to listen.
don't No, that is
Yeah.
so okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. There's the last one, but I'm gonna tell you guys something too. So I had there's two different sections on this. One concerning discipline of the children and mommy guilt, the other one concerning embarrassment, like children being embarrassed in moments that could make us have mommy guilt. So there's the same type of things listed under that. But as y'all know, um, we have no problem with our conversation and the flow of it, and it is already, um, we've gone an hour and a half already. So, um, would y'all be willing to come back and do a part two of this?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
I'm down. I love this. I mean,
Saida,
we do this. So
Yes,
Saida, I
yes.
wanted to say this before we ended because y'all was like, so I'm
Oh
trying
yeah.
to be, I'm trying to be,
Do
nice
you
and
want to
polite.
wait? Is it
No, no, no,
you want
no.
to
Yeah,
wait?
but I just want to say this one thing because it pertains to using, needing family. And I wanted to say this,
Oh,
but
on
I
this
couldn't
topic.
get it in.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
The one thing that I did want to add, and maybe you can identify with this, maybe you can absolutely get where I'm coming from. As an African American single mom, the money that I spent on having somebody keep my girl's hair braided is fucking insane. Like
yeah,
insane. And
I
that's
relate. I'm a Hispanic mom, but I have mixed kids, and so I
okay.
don't know how to braid hair. So I have to pay to have my baby's hair done
My
all the time.
advice, what I tell any blind parent that has a biracial or a black child, the best thing that I found that worked is, and I know we just had this conversation about how it doesn't work, but what I found is when we went to the park, there would be little girls there, and little girls would bring bigger sisters. So the teenagers braid my kids' hair at the park, and as I
Uh-uh.
got to know them, I'd go and meet their moms and stuff like that, and then they would become my kids' hair braiders. So got to meet some
So
teenagers.
So I'm going to speak on that one only because this is part of my I don't want people pitying me because I have kids and that they're going to think I can't take care. That's my own issues that I had, right? So I learned how to do my own kids' hair. So I
Nice.
I
Give us
braided
pointers.
myself. Yeah,
I cannot do extensions. You can do
so
extensions.
no, I braided I did their own hair. I just braided it. But here's the thing about that. My parts were always straight
Hmm.
and on point. But here's the thing. I didn't do middle parts. I did side parts so that it would like the way that I would design the hair would be where I did diagonal parts. I did different shape parts. Now the
Yep.
part was straight,
Yep.
but you didn't know that it wasn't supposed to, I couldn't
Connect here,
do,
yeah.
yeah. No, it's just that, hey, that's the design. She's supposed to have a
Yeah.
triangle in the middle of her head. That's what that's supposed to be.
I mean, it's a lot of sighted women that don't know how to do their
Right.
kids' hair.
That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna
That's why
say.
they're paying beauticians and stuff too.
So,
But
yeah,
I learned how to do my daughter's hair for the sake
Mhm.
of money. Like I don't have
Yeah.
the money to go.
Yeah.
We don't think
Yeah.
I can do a couple things
incomes.
here and
Like, who
there.
got money to be going to
Oop, you're breaking out,
I
Tina.
thought it was my Wi-Fi.
No, that's
Yeah.
hers
Yeah,
breaking out.
I can do a couple things here and there, especially
Mm-hmm.
because her
Oh,
hair
Tina
is
is Taryn. Okay.
you.
You.
But yeah, I learned how to do a couple things, especially because her hair is not, I can just moisturize it and it is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Be curly.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but for her
Honey. My kids
protective
had 4C
styles,
hair.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and I
mean,
did, and then I learned, puff balls.
right.
I just learned
Yeah.
different things like that. But the thing is, you don't understand. And again, it was an ego booster for me too, because when people would see oh, your hair is so pretty. Who
Oh,
did your hair? My
yes.
mommy did it. Your mommy? Like,
Yeah.
But
really?
Saida, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you didn't have 6 girls. You didn't.
Which is even more reason why I would have learned how to do it, girl, because I'm not gonna
Girl, like
pay.
I mean, when it
And
would
at
come to
that
like,
time, I was a struggling single.
Listen, as
You know
long
what?
as they look good, it don't matter how you got
Mm-mm.
it done.
honey,
Yep, as
when
long as it
those
was done.
kids, I learned
Mm-mm.
how to press the hair, but I never, and then I got carpal tunnel, so then I
No, see,
couldn't.
I sure wasn't pressing nobody's hair. And my daughter, so my they had two different types of hair because my oldest daughter is half white. And so now that was a challenge. But then my youngest daughter, she got what we call, the Negro hair. Okay. So her hair was nappy, nappy, nappy.
Who is your
But
pappy nappy?
but yes,
That's how my kids' hair was.
but she was the one that wasn't tender-headed. The one with the good hair, with the stringy hair,
No, I'm gonna
I
stop
touched her
you.
hair and
I'm gonna
she
stop you.
screamed like bloody murder.
Don't do that.
That
No,
she
we
did.
don't do good hair no more. No, that's no.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Well,
one with the
that
natural hair and the
no,
No, don't say
no,
that good hair.
that's what society called it. That's what it's being
I know.
referred to
I'm messing
as.
with you. You know I'm
That's what
messing
it
with
was called. She called it good hair. Well, what's
you.
supposed to be good hair, because her hair was not good hair to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was not. I'd rather deal with the other one. So,
Oh, that
all right,
running
but
from the
we have one
cone,
more.
no.
Oh no, I used to have to put her between my legs. But I learned with the second one though. Have y'all ever did your kids' hair when they were asleep?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That used to be the
No,
only way I could do my daughter's hair when
I
she
would
Mm-hmm.
have
yeah.
bite marks on my
that
thighs
is
and
funny.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you need to come on our podcast because we want to do a hair
Mm-hmm.
episode. It's a
Yeah.
big conversation for us. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it is fun. And that's the thing, you know what? Though the thing about it is, I- yes, ideally is, if you have the money to go get it done, that's fine. But I also don't want to be sitting in nobody's shop or waiting around
Girl,
hours
shut my
to
butt.
get
Them girls
their
used to
hair
come to
done.
my house and do that stuff in the kitchen. What you talking about? I
Oh,
ain't
well,
have
yeah.
that kind of
Well, not
money.
everybody is fortunate to be able to find somebody at the park. So, um, you
Shout
got
out to
lucky,
San
girl.
Francisco Park and
Right,
Rec.
exactly. Um, which this brings us into this last one, guys, real quick. Societal expectations. Does anybody, I think this
I
whole
think we've
episode,
touched on
yeah,
that.
this
ooh,
whole thing has been
Been
societal
about
I
expectations.
was gonna say, Taryn,
Mm-hmm.
we did a whole series
We
on
did.
Go
Really?
Off Queen. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
So,
that's
did
the,
you guys touch on this subject? Because this is something that I encountered about 2 weeks ago that almost had me in tears. And it's this whole, everybody's in this, oh, let the children wear what they want and express their individuality. And it's like, nah, buddy, you're not walking out with some rain boots on, some jeans, and a church dress. We're not doing that.
No, my
No, we
kids
Like,
don't
can't.
do that either. Nope.
like no.
Don't have
And
that
so,
luxury.
and we're on our way to the doctor's appointment. We're late because she is just like refusing. And I'm like, I really don't want to whoop this girl's butt. I really don't, because then, because then she's going to go to the doctor crying, and she's already, and I'm sitting here trying to negotiate with a terrorist, because 4-year-olds can be terrorists. I don't negotiate with terrorists. But I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
if you
they
lose the
are.
boots, if you just take the
We
boots off,
might be
no,
able
I
to
want to
make it.
wear the
Yeah.
boots. And she's not
You gotta
understanding.
compromise.
Yeah, she's not understanding, because
And
everybody just let her wear
yeah.
what she wants. And I'm like, no, because
But
as
see, y'all, you compromising. That's the thing, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm old
We
fashioned
still,
now.
yeah.
You do
I'm
what
the
I
mama.
said.
Yeah, I'm the
what
mama.
look, to
I'm
my
the mama.
credit, she wore the dress and we got her to wear sandals, and
I
she
ain't
left.
getting you. You gonna wear what I'm gonna make you
No,
wear.
it wasn't even the
I put.
dress. I just didn't want them jeans and
Let,
them damn rain
but
boots,
let
not
me
in
tell.
98-degree weather.
But let me
Like,
tell y'all,
no.
my daughter for a whole, I swear, 6 months, you guys, she was into a fluffy prom dress, right? There was a dress that she would not freaking take off, and tap shoes. And
Oh,
she
that
would
baby
wear
was
the tap she
fancy.
felt like, she's like, mommy, I'm a princess, I'm a princess. And she would not take it off, like at all. I just, so when I got ready to go someplace, she was like, I'm ready, and she'd put that dress on. No, you're not going with me with that dress on. You would throw a fit.
Oh.
And then I'm sitting there, and I was actually trying to bribe her. Well, if you take it off, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the freaking mom here. Hold up, take the damn dress off.
Exactly.
Like, but I do, because it's so cute that she was just so invested in this damn
Yeah,
dress. So
it's
I
cute.
didn't want to have to beat your ass because you won't take it off, but you're not going in public with that, because she would put the
Yeah.
tap shoes on. She would wear no socks. It got to the point, them damn shoes, I seen her toes curling up in the thing. I would feel it, like them things are too small.
But these
But
other mothers let their children go to school like that. I can't, if I called
Well,
my
I
and
love
daughter,
so
that for them,
if
but
I,
we're
yeah,
not
hold
doing
up,
that.
if I were to
no,
call
No,
my
we're not
daughter,
doing
which I
that.
won't, in here and let her describe to
no.
you the way these kids dress at school, your head would spin. And
But
so, because
that's
she
how it
sees her
is.
kids, since she sees her classmates dressing that way, then why shouldn't it be okay for her?
Well,
And
because she got a blind parent. That's why.
and,
Because
and a
you gonna
black
be
blind
that
mama that ain't
crazy.
gonna let you walk
Yeah.
out looking like any old kind of way. Not with
Well,
me,
the
not.
problem is, and that's the thing, when I say that, I'm saying it because, yes, those sighted parents can let their kids go to school looking however they want. Nobody says nothing. As soon as a blind parent does, that's where the problem comes in. It's because we are not able to take care of our kids, and that's a society thing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, I think they're gonna get talked about regardless.
Yeah.
But I think when it's a blind parent, for sure, it's gonna be like, oh, poor little
Yeah.
whatever.
The teacher. I mean,
Yeah,
either way, the kids is cruel. The kids is gonna tease your ass too.
yeah,
I mean, that's
for
on you.
sure.
But I'm talking about teachers and
Yeah.
that those are the ones
Saida,
that are going to
these
look at us
kids come
crazy.
to school in pajamas.
Well,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
that's on them. That's on
I
them.
even take it a step further that I make sure that I am dressed to the nines anytime I go
Exactly.
up to the school too. My makeup is
Hell
done, my hair is
yes.
Hell
looking good,
yeah.
my outfit is good,
Yeah.
Yes.
just because my babies are gonna look good, but so am I.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean,
Put
you know what? I
together.
do that too, because for one, I want them to say, "Oh my gosh, your mom's
Huh?
blind and she's dressed like that." Like, I like that too.
What's
Okay.
this?
Um, all right. Um, So, but I do like that. I mean, I want my kids. We all look put together. So, talk about that. Are you talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
Are you spread?
Yes.
Are you
Exactly.
spreading that word around the town that we all
Right.
look good? you know.
Right, right.
So that's the crazy part. So, but okay, ladies. So there is a whole nother section. I'm excited. I would love to discuss it. So if you guys are all, and no pressure. I mean, if you don't want to, like, you're all I'm putting you on the spot. Like, are you guys gonna come back? If you want to say, you're like, no,
Well,
no,
I
I do
talk too
not want
much,
to
so
come
maybe
back,
I shouldn't. So.
girl. Oh wait, am I supposed to say? Oh no,
No, that was sarcastic, because
please.
y'all did most of the talking this time. I'm like, I'm gonna just let them have this.
Oh no, you got yours in, girl. Don't
Oh
don't
yeah,
don't
but no,
don't
but I
go
let y'all have it. I
go
was
back
trying to
in
be
and go back in and listen. You got
but
yours in.
Well, thank you for having us. I really enjoyed it. I would love
Yes,
to come
thank
back
you.
and do a part 2 for sure.
Yes, because I'm curious about the discipline part, and I'm
Well,
sure you
beat
guys,
them.
I'm
maybe
sure
I
Beat
you
them.
shouldn't.
guys
No.
have some
Maybe
tips,
I shouldn't.
tips
I'm
and
over here talking about
tricks.
beat them.
Right. But
Look,
there's a few stories that I'm sure we can all share about different things that may have happened. This may not even be about mommy guilt. This might just be about, just disciplining as a blind mom. Like the things that we have to do to stay in line or keep our kids in line that sighted people don't have to go through,
Yep.
you know? So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
then
because
there's
can you
that.
still give your kids that look?
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am, sure
Pat
can.
Pat searching kids and
Uh-huh.
stuff.
But one of the things, okay, this is the only thing I do want to say, and this is the thing. One of the things was on is about the feeling guilty about not doing the verbal cues, right? Not being able to see. So this means like if your daughter rolls her eyes or your son rolls their eyes at you, that's instant like disrespect. Like you're not supposed to be able to do that, right? But you
They
know how
do.
many times we probably get our
Oh
eyes
yeah.
folded.
Oh, my husband talks about it all the time because he's sighted,
Yeah,
and he'll get on
yeah.
my kids like they're giving you stank face
Right.
right
Yeah,
now.
right. That's it.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
hear it
and
from other people. You should see the way
yeah,
she's looking
she's
at
looking
you.
at you. Yes,
I don't
I've
give a
heard
fuck.
that too. I've heard that
Uh-huh.
too. Like if you could see how she was looking at you. So and I still
Uh-huh.
see if it's brought to my attention, I just you better get that look off your face, But
Uh-huh.
if it was just me and her, she would have got away with it. She would have been looking at me like she's just pouring
Hey, you can look
gas
Hmm
crazy
at
I
me.
however
don't
you
know.
want to, but we still gonna do what I said.
Oh, I
Right.
have
Sometimes I
one that
find myself calling my kids out on stuff that I think they might have did,
Yeah, yeah.
just in case they were doing.
Just
I'll
in
be like,
Right.
yeah, what was you just doing?
I wasn't doing
Oh my
nothing. I
God. Well,
was
you
just
know,
Exactly. Well,
me
just
and
okay.
cause
my
you thought
husband
about
were
Okay.
it.
just talking about this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He said they used to get just in case
Yeah,
whoopings.
just in
yeah,
right,
yeah,
just
yeah.
in case.
In case I
Hmm.
forgot about something.
Right, yeah. So, but all right, ladies, thank you guys so much. It was great discussion. I appreciate you all, and we look forward to bringing you all back to the table.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.